Now, KJ Bolden is going to commit on this very YouTube channel here this weekend. Make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you got the clock set. Make sure you hit the notifications on the On3 Recruits Twitter page. Make sure you follow On3 on Twitter. Like I promised you, we're going to keep you in the know for all things KJ Bolden. And everyone's going to talk about the intel with this and, where he could be headed and all that. There's a couple of schools that are getting the most buzz right now. It's Georgia, it's Auburn, it's Florida State, it's Ohio State. Like, where's it going? I don't know. I can't wait to watch, though. I can't wait to be locked into the On3 YouTube channel and watch that. But I think the impact of what he brings to the table here as the number one safety in the 2024 cycle is very fascinating to pay attention to. And so that's kind of what I want to do right here. I want to kind of unpack some of these schools and the impact that KJ Bolden could have should he end up committing there. And Georgia's the school that is getting the most buzz right now. It makes sense. He's in state. Georgia is Georgia. He's taken the most visits there. And if they were to land KJ Bolden, yes, the rich get richer, but it also ensures that secondary is going to stay stocked with the talent that got them to those multiple national titles previously. Now, you still have to develop him. You still have to put him in position to succeed. How early does he play? I don't know. It seems like a lot of 5-stars go there and kind of take their time. Not all of them, but some of them. KJ Bolden, if he were to go to Georgia, just continues to, like I said, ensure that secondary stays at a championship caliber operation. And I don't think that can be overstated. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you like the video. Make sure you follow me on Twitter and on Instagram. Again, cannot stress this enough. KJ Bolden is committing on this very YouTube channel. If you are subscribed, you will not miss it. I promise you, you will not want to miss it. Now, KJ Bolden was at Auburn this past weekend for Big Cat Weekend, which is Auburn's big recruiting weekend. And can you imagine what would happen if KJ Bolden ends up committing to Auburn? Can you imagine the Twitter timeline? Can you imagine the juice around Auburn and the Hugh Freeze era going forward past this season? Can you imagine where that puts them in the On3 team industry recruiting rankings? Like, that would be enormous. And the way that it would feel to me is it's KJ Bolden putting an exclamation mark on what Hugh Freeze is doing right now. Puts an absolute signal fire out to the rest of the country, the direction of Auburn under Hugh Freeze. Because they're fighting to throw that roster together right now through the portal, and a lot of these guys in the recruiting trail are probably going to contribute for them early. I think KJ Bolden, what he would mean for them on the field, he would be huge for them to get on the field. In the SEC especially, you have so many freak show playmakers running around. You need someone at the safety position that can help be a good tackler, but also be able to play well in the pass game, be able to match up with those big 6'4", 6'5" kind of tight ends. KJ Bolden, he's got good range. He's a ball hawk when it's in the air. He would be someone that I think plays sooner rather than later should he end up at Auburn. So he's someone that Auburn would mean a lot for them on the recruiting show, but I think once he gets on campus, once it comes to playing on Saturdays, he's someone that I think would have a major impact for them. Now, Florida State, it's kind of a similar storyline with them. If Mike Norvell lands KJ Bolden, this is a beat-your-chest kind of commitment that the Noles would land. Because so much made about Mike Norvell mostly using the portal and the lack of juice they've had on the recruiting trail. And now, though, they've put something on the field that is a really solid product. They're about to, in my opinion, do something really exciting in 2023. And landing KJ Bolden over schools in the SEC, out of the state of Georgia, that would be a moment where we always say, oh, okay, so this is what Mike Norvell is going to be at Florida State. So this is now Florida State having some firepower on the recruiting trail. And if they can start recruiting like that in the southeast region in Georgia, and then also kind of have some more steam in the state of Florida, like Florida State now, the wheels kind of start turning, the machine gets some more juice, the steam starts coming off that thing, then that thing kind of gets some more momentum. So is it a game changer for them in terms of landing KJ Bolden on the recruiting trail? Yeah, I think it might be. You look at the safety position. I was talking to Josh Newberg before this show got rolling here, and he was telling me, he's like, listen, at the safety position to Florida State, a little bit thin. KJ Bolden, as talented as he is, again, the number one safety in the country, 5-star plus kind of player, you probably ask him to play early at Florida State as well. He's not a guy that you probably see handing out Gatorade or Powerade, whatever it is at Florida State, on the sideline and walking up and down with towels. No. He's probably on the field. At the very least, you have packages for him. Maybe he's a guy that plays day one, which we'll see what happens if he does go to Florida State and all that, but you hear what I'm saying here. His impact at Florida State would be immediate, and it would be massive. Ohio State's the last team I want to talk about here. And the narrative, or not the narrative, the explanation for KJ Bolden to Ohio State speaks for itself. They run a 3-3-5 defense, meaning they play 3 safeties on the field at a time. In Jim Knowles' defense, you ask a lot of the safety position. No way around it. You do. Last year for Ohio State, some issues in the secondary. And they went to the portal and they tried to revamp that. They got some pieces in the secondary to add that. But if you could have a guy like KJ Bolden on campus for at least 3 years and have him add a little bit more security to that secondary and allow him to develop in that system and be able to kind of be the quarterback of that defense. Having a 5-star plus #1 safety in the country being the quarterback of your defense if you're Jim Knowles long term, I think that would be exactly the position Ohio State would like to be in. So this may not be an exhaustive list. These are just some schools I wanted to talk about that I think deserve some chatter on the potential impact. But Georgia, Auburn, Florida State, Ohio State, if he were to go to any of those schools, would make any and all of those coaching staffs extremely happy, and the impact at all those schools would be enormous and I think would be relatively immediate. So keep it locked right here. Keep an eye on this YouTube channel. We will have KJ Bolden's commitment for you live. If you're subscribed, you'll be the first to know. Hey y'all, thanks so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel here to make sure you don't miss an episode of The Hard Count. Also be sure to check out other videos on the On3 YouTube channel.